All right, ready to jump into the world of the Malt Master. We're going deep today, folks. Career guide, interview questions, even how AI can help you land the job. Think you're ready to unlock the secrets of a perfectly balanced brew.
Absolutely. And it's a career in high demand, especially with the craft beer industry booming. We're talking a deep understanding of malt, its impact, and the final flavor.
So it's more than just loving beer, it's really about the science.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's say you land an interview for this Malt Master position. What are some of the questions that you should be ready for?
One that pops up a lot is, can you tell us about a time you had to troubleshoot a problem in the malting process? And this is where you really get to show your problem-solving skills, your technical know-how.
So what kind of example would really impress?
Let's say a batch of malt is showing inconsistent germination rates.
Mm.
You could talk about identifying the problem, maybe checking the moisture levels or temperature control. Then explain the steps you took to fix it.
Okay, so that shows you can think on your feet and you're analytical. But what about follow-up questions? What if they dig deeper? Like, what if they ask about specific factors that influence germination rates?
They absolutely could, and that's where your deep knowledge of malting comes in. You might discuss things like temperature, humidity, oxygen, or even the barley variety.
Before we get to the next question, I want to touch on something you mentioned. RoleCatcher's AI. How can that help?
RoleCatcher is amazing. It analyzes job descriptions, pinpoints the skills employers are looking for, so it might highlight troubleshooting or quality control, and then you can think about examples from your own experience.
So it helps you tailor your answers for that specific job. Very cool. Okay, back to those interview questions. What else should a budding malt master be ready for?
Another common one is, how do you stay up to date with industry trends? You get to show you're passionate and committed to learning.
So what's the best way to approach this? Just rattle off some magazines.
It's more about genuine engagement. You could mention publications, conferences you've attended, even online forums where you connect with other professionals, highlight courses or workshops, especially on new technologies or brewing techniques.
Showing that you're really proactive and staying ahead of the curve. What are some resources the Career Guide recommends?
The guide mentions several, including the Master Brewers Association of the Americas, the Craft Brewers Conference, and the Institute of Brewing and Distilling. It also highlights networking, attending industry events, connecting with others.
Sounds like a career that encourages lifelong learning and collaboration. Let's switch gears and talk about the more creative side. What if they ask you to describe your approach to developing new malt products?
That's a fantastic question. Gets at your innovation and creativity. You want to paint a picture of your process, from inspiration to experimentation.
So it's not just about having a new idea, it's about showing you have a structured approach to innovation.
Exactly. You might talk about how you research emerging trends, experiment with flavors, or collaborate with brewers or experts to bring your ideas to life.
RoleCatcher could help here too, right?
Absolutely. RoleCatcher's AI analyzes job descriptions to identify keywords related to innovation, research, or product development. This helps you tailor your answer to what the employer values.
It's like a personalized interview prep guide. Let's tackle another one. What if they ask, how do you ensure the consistency and quality of your malt products? Seems straightforward, but what are the key points?
This one's all about your attention to detail, commitment to a top-notch product. Discuss the specific steps you take throughout the process to ensure quality control.
So more than just saying, I taste it.
Definitely. You can mention sensory analysis techniques, lab testing, adherence to standards, and even your system for documenting and tracking.
I bet they'd also be interested in real-world experience you've had with quality control, right?
Absolutely. Share a story about when you identified a potential issue and how you resolved it. Shows you're proactive.
Okay, now let's explore one that focuses on professional development. What if they ask, how do you stay up to date with industry trends and advances in malt production?
Here you showcase that commitment to learning. You can talk about professional organizations, publications, or even forums and podcasts where you connect with other experts.
Showing that you're not just keeping up, you're actively seeking out new knowledge. What if they ask for specific examples?
Have a few ready. Maybe a recent workshop, experimenting with a novel ingredient, or even a conversation with a fellow malt master that sparked an idea.
Showing that passion and that you're always looking to improve. Now, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, let's talk RoleCatcher again. We know it helps with resumes, but can it help practice interview answers?
Absolutely. RoleCatcher can simulate an interview, you record your answers, and get AI feedback on delivery, content, even body language.
It's like a personal coach in your pocket.
Yeah.
Now let's move on to more interview questions. The guide mentions one that seems classic. Can you describe your experience with sensory analysis?
It's crucial, right? Totally essential. Sensory analysis is at the core of a malt master's expertise. Go beyond just, I have a good palate. Showcase your deep understanding.
So what are some key things to highlight?
Definitely the techniques, like evaluating appearance, aroma, and taste. Explain how you identify flavors and aromas, how you articulate them, even mention specialized training.
It's showing you have a refined palate and the vocabulary to describe it. What about follow-up questions? What if they ask about your personal approach to sensory analysis?
Great chance to showcase your unique perspective. Maybe you have a particular method for evaluating malt aroma or assessing mouthfeel. Share what makes your approach special.
Highlighting what makes you stand out. Let's dive into a question about leadership. What if they ask, describe your experience managing a team in a malt production facility?
This one's likely for those with management experience, maybe aiming for senior roles. If you have led a team, share specific examples of how you've motivated, mentored, and delegated.
Showing that you can handle the technical stuff and lead others. What qualities might interviewers be looking for?
Strong communication skills, giving constructive feedback, and creating a positive environment. Highlight instances where you resolved conflicts, fostered teamwork, or helped team members grow.
Those soft skills are so important, especially in a brewery. Okay, let's move to a question that's essential for safety. What if they ask, how do you ensure that your malt production facility is operating safely and complies with regulations?
This is about showing you the safety protocols and your commitment to a safe environment. Talk about safety regulations, training programs, and steps you take to mitigate risks.
Real-world examples are key here, right? Like identifying and correcting a hazard or implementing a new procedure.
Absolutely. You can also mention specific certifications, like OSHA shows you stay current with standards.
All right, we've covered a lot on interview questions, but let's tackle one more before we move to part 2. This one is a classic, tell me about a time question. Can you describe a time when you had to make a difficult decision related to malt production? These can be tricky, so what's the best way to approach them?
The key is to have a clear example that showcases your problem-solving, judgment, and ability to make tough calls under pressure.
So it's not just about describing the situation, it's about walking them through your thought process.
Exactly. You want to explain the factors you considered, the potential risks and rewards, and how you arrived at your decision. Don't forget the outcome and the lessons you learned.
It's about showing you can handle challenges and learn. Now, before we move on to part 2, where we'll explore even more and get into career insights, let's recap.
We've looked at a variety of questions a malt master might encounter, focusing on showcasing your expertise, problem-solving, commitment to quality, and passion for learning.
And we've explored how RoleCatcher's AI can be a great tool for tailoring your resume, practicing your answers, and gaining an edge in the job market.
In part 2, we'll continue our dive into the world of malt masters with more challenging questions, exploring career progression, and offering practical advice for landing your dream job. Stay tuned. Welcome back to our deep dive into the malt master world.
We've been tackling those interview questions to help you land that dream job.
Right, and of course, RoleCatcher's AI, your secret weapon.
Exactly. Now remember that last question, the tough decisions in malt production.
Yeah, the ones that test your judgment. Let's say you have a batch of malt, aroma's a bit off, but it meets the standards. Do you reject it? Could cause delays, cost money, or try to salvage it, risk inconsistencies in the beer.
Tricky. What would show you have what it takes?
Walk them through your process, how you weighed the risks and benefits, maybe consulted with others, looked at best practices.
So it's about showing a systematic approach. What if they ask about a team conflict?
Team dynamics. Show off your leadership and communication skills. Maybe a disagreement on a process or personality clashes.
That would test your people skills. How do you answer effectively?
Focus on listening, communicating clearly, finding solutions for the whole team. Maybe describe facilitating a discussion, encouraging openness, finding common ground.
Soft skills are crucial, especially in a brewery. Let's shift gears. What about this question? Describe your experience working with customers and developing relationships in the malt industry.
Might seem odd, but it's insightful. Malt masters focus on production, but relationships with brewers, suppliers, distributors, they're essential.
So even if you're not dealing with consumers directly, those skills are still important.
Absolutely. Think about experiences that show you understand customer needs, provide great service, build trust. Maybe you developed a custom malt blend with a brewer, or helped a supplier with a quality issue.
Shows you get the bigger picture, the collaboration. How can RoleCatcher help if you don't have much customer-facing experience?
RoleCatcher analyzes the job description's language and tailors your response. If they emphasize collaboration or communication, RoleCatcher helps highlight your teamwork and interpersonal skills.
Taking the guesswork out. Let's get technical. What are the key factors that influence the flavor and aroma of malt?
Malt science time. Variety of barley, germination, kilning temperatures, even moisture content.
Not just knowing the types, but how the variables create flavor profiles. What if they ask about a specific compound, like dimethyl sulfide, DMS?
Great example. DMS is a sulfur compound, can give beer a cooked corn or vegetable aroma. You can then explain how kilning time and temperature affect DMS levels.
Deep into malt chemistry. Any other compounds a malt master should know?
Tons. Guaiacol for smoky or spicy notes, vanillin for sweet vanilla aromas. Show you understand how they're formed and impact the final beer.
Now for problem solving. Describe a time when you had to identify and resolve a quality issue with a batch of malt.
Show off those analytical skills and attention to detail. Pick an example, maybe an off flavor, color inconsistency, or moisture problem.
They'll want to know how you investigated and what solution you found.
Exactly. Describe analyzing the malt, talking to the team, checking records, finding the root cause. Then explain the corrective actions to prevent it happening again.
It's all about being proactive and dedicated to quality. Now for professional development, what are your long-term career goals in the brewing industry?
Time to express those aspirations, show ambition. Maybe becoming a head maltster, specializing in a malt or style, even starting your own malt house.
It's about your future, how this role fits in. What about salary expectations?
A tricky one, be prepared. Research average salaries in your area, discuss your expectations professionally.
RoleCatcher can help here, right?
Of course. It gives salary insights for roles and locations, helps you understand the market and negotiate fairly.
Great resource, no more guessing. Before we go to the final part, let's go back to the career guide. Some key insights about being a malt master.
What stood out to me was the passion and dedication. This is for people who love the art and science of brewing.
A calling, not just a job. Anything else interesting?
The guide also mentioned continuous learning. The industry is always evolving, so stay current. It mentioned the demand for malt masters with sustainability and local sourcing expertise.
So it's about the environment and local agriculture, too.
Exactly. And networking and building relationships are important. Conferences, organizations, connecting with others, it opens doors and gives you insights.
Being part of a community of passionate, knowledgeable people making exceptional beers.
Well said. And remember, with hard work, dedication, and RoleCatcher, you can achieve your brewing dreams.
And we're back for the final part of our Malt Master deep dive.
We've covered a lot. Interview questions, career paths, essential skills.
And don't forget those insights from the career guide and tips on how RoleCatcher can help.
Right. Before we wrap up, I want to go back to that question about imagining yourself 5 years from now, living the dream.
Giving advice to your younger self, the one starting out.
Yeah. I think I'd really emphasize never stop experimenting.
Keep that curiosity and innovation going.
Exactly. Try new malts, explore techniques, push the boundaries of flavor, challenge the norms and develop your own unique approach.
Love that. That mix of art and science is what makes this so interesting.
And networking, mentorship, that's huge. Connect with experienced malt masters, industry events, learn from those who've been there.
Find those mentors and guides to help you through the ups and downs.
For sure. And speaking of downs, a common interview question is, describe a time you faced a setback at work and how you overcame it.
Tough one. Not easy to talk about failures, but important.
Definitely. They want to see you learn, adapt, and come back stronger. Choose an example that shows resilience, problem solving, turning a negative into a positive.
Like a batch of malt gone wrong or project delays.
Exactly. Walk them through it, the steps you took and the lessons you learned. It's not about dwelling, it's about growth.
Now let's get technical again. What if they ask, how do you determine the appropriate kilning profile for different types of malt?
This is the heart of production. Kilning, drying, and roasting the barley, it's key for the color, flavor, aroma.
So it's controlled, get those specific characteristics.
Yes, precise. Show you understand the killing stages, how temperature affects things, and the profiles for different malts from pale to chocolate.
Science and intuition working together. What example could you give?
Describe a specific malt you made, the flavor profile, the kilning schedule, even the temperatures and times. Show your attention to detail.
Okay, moving on. Towards the end, you often get asked, do you have any questions for us? Your chance to learn about the role in the company.
Shows your engagement too. Asking thoughtful questions, you've done your research, you're interested.
What are some good ones a malt master could ask?
You could ask about their brewing philosophy, sustainability, professional development opportunities, or even specific challenges and opportunities of the role.
Great questions. It's a conversation showing you're curious.
Before we finish, one last piece of advice that's helped me. Never stop learning and growing.
Stay thirsty for knowledge in every sense.
Right. The industry's always changing, so keep learning, exploring trends, connecting with passionate people. Go to conferences, read, experiment. Don't lose that passion.
Perfect way to end. So there you have it, our Malt Master deep dive. We hope you got some insights, tips, and a new appreciation for the craft.
Remember, dedication, hard work, a little help from RoleCatcher. You can make those brewing dreams happen.
Cheers to that, and thanks for joining us on the deep dive.